Back to tour a little bit. It sounds like it's been an overall good experience. Do you have any experiences or people that you met or tour stops that really stood out to you as this year as a big highlight?
I mean, just the novelty of seeing the country for the first time and traveling these long distances that were pretty arduous, but like very worth it. It was kind of a tightly packed schedule, but like I we stayed in Portland for like 3 days, which was kind of nice because I had never been there before, and I got to like hike around the woods for a day, which was pretty fucking fun. Like we got to like kind of explore the city a little bit. Went to this like really dope arcade that's out there because I live in Boston where it is an arcade drought over here, and sometimes it's nice just to go somewhere. And I don't video game as much as I used to, but going to an arcade, like being able to just kind of indulge in that in a way that I haven't in a long time because I'm way too hyper focused on my music sometimes. So that was really cool. We got to stop at the Moog Museum
Ooh.
in South Carolina. I feel like you might have a listener like screaming at me, but it was down south. It was a long tour. Okay, I don't remember everything, but yeah, being able to like it was like a very small like showroom, but like kind of getting a history of the thing that I do. It was a cool moment, like to see how far electronic music has come and like the people that worked way harder than I ever will in my entire life to make it so I can beep and boop with the efficiency and skill that I do. I love playing in Florida. I love the Tampa golf community. I really do. They're an absolute wonderful people. Uh, Going to the castle in Tampa, which is like their legendary golf club. It's the golf club that was promised to me in movies, like when I was a kid, seeing things like Blade or The Crow, uh, things like that. Like that was my expectation. Then I actually get there and it's, mostly like kind of socially awkward middle-aged people kind of treating the dance floor like it's a middle school dance. That was my first experience of the goth scene growing up. But going to Tampa, that's like the castle is just a fucking amazing experience. And it was like a packed night because apparently there was a hockey game that night, so it was just like flooded with bros. And a few people like apologized to me for like, hey, I'm sorry, this isn't the normal crowd. Like all these like normies came or whatever. And I'm like, no, this is awesome. Like this is a huge golf club, and there is people from all socio walks of life, and that is super cool. And uh, the DJ played one of my songs, and like when it dropped, I saw all these bros like jumping up and down and like throwing their arms up and shit. And I just realized like this music would probably not come to them any other way, and they're experiencing this after going to their fucking hockey game that I would fucking never be at, and that was a pretty wonderful moment.
Hell yeah. I've never heard of the castle before. Is it like I'm picturing like the nightclub in the Matrix or like the Blood Rave or something. Is it like people in cages and like leather and latex and I don't know,
Yeah, and there's like
Rob Zombie?
there's like so many like corridors to like go through, and it's just like packed to the walls. It's just a fantastic place. If you ever are in Tampa, Florida, or anywhere adjacent to that, I strongly recommend the castle. I absolutely love it there. And just like I said, the Tampa golf community are just the warmest, most awesome people. I fucking love them.
Fuck yeah. And another big highlight for you recently, I assume, without putting too many words in your mouth, was your Blood Rave show. This is the first event that
Yeah,
you've put together, right?
yeah, that was a very cool moment. So I was gonna be actually so what it came about because I was supposed to be opening support for a band that was touring through Boston, and they canceled the tour, and the promoter was like, well, do you just want to do something? And instead, I was at first I was like, no, like I have no experience in that. And I kind of sat on it for a day, and I kind of had a conversation with one of my local DJ friends who she very much at DJ K Spec, she very much understands like these specific genre and style of music that I'm into. And I was like, do you think I should do this. Do you think you can help me with it? And we kind of thought together of like what a lineup would be, and we were able to contact a few great artists, industrial techno artists. Snowbeast from Providence, Rhode Island, came down. Zafu, that's Tzafu, from New York City. He does like really cool like modern industrial like techno electro. It's
Dude, his
so
shit is
good.
really sick.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Hey, dude, I thought he was like looking at the name, listening to the sound. I assumed that motherfucker was from France. I didn't even look it up. I just assumed. And then my manager like sends me a video from Danny Blue. He's performing and he shows me like the opening act. Like, yo, you ever hear of the Zafu guy? And I'm like, well, he's American? No fucking way. And so like I immediately like reach out to him like, holy shit, more dark electronic artists in this corner of the country. That's amazing. I thought they were all out in LA or Portland or wherever, those cool cities. But so I contacted him and he was down to do it, and Snowbeast were into it, and we were nervous as hell, but we really kind of put it together and did our best to promote it. Shout out to my manager Victor, who really helped with like Facebook ads and Instagram ads and those kind of things like that. And I was terrified the whole day that it was happening, but like immediately people showed up and it was like a super successful night. I was scared I wasn't gonna be able to pay my performers. Like I kind of told them like we're gonna do everything in our power to make this happen, but this is my first event and there is a chance that we won't make any money, but I'm gonna do everything in our power to make sure you paid you. And I was able to pay all my artists. I did okay myself, and people just had a really awesome time, and it showed me that there was like a hunger for this kind of music in this city. And that's goddamn cool. And I'm already kind of brainstorming what I want the next event to be. And so I'm also gonna be talking with my co-DJ about it. A couple of people like saw the flyer, like artists that like I love, and reached out and were like, "Oh, are you doing this kind of thing more often? Like, I'd love to play it." So I think there's a chance that I might do it. I'd love to make more of a dark electronic scene in this city. And one of the most amazing things about it is that a lot of young people showed up, which might sound creepy to anyone who doesn't understand the goth industrial scene, but like we absolutely need more young people, because like it is like a genre from the 90s that like gets like waves of popularity, but doesn't always stay with it. And like the youth drives literally any music culture. So it was really cool to see like college age ravers who are like showing up and like just like throwing down to this like dark industrial music that I am only used to in like my very like niche clubs that like I'll go out to. So it brought out a lot of people from a lot of different scenes, and that was great. It was we did a lot of flyering at that Ice Peak show that I played,
Mm-hmm.
and was able to win over a lot of people at that show, and that really helped get the word out for it. So that was, yeah, it was a really good experience. I definitely want to do it again. I'm kind of readjusting and kind of recalibrating, and then I think I want to do something again because yeah, it was really cool.
Hell yeah, that's good to hear. It's
We
also
did
good to hear
not
that
release any blood from sprinklers, unfortunately.
there's always next time. There's
Not
always
if I
next
want to. Not if I want to throw an event in this city again.
time.
Boston are a bunch of prudes, dude.
I don't know. I think it's possible. I worked an Insane Clown Posse show once, which
Whoop
was
whoop.
just for the experience, really. But like, yeah, having to like lay down like probably a mile or two of like carpeting and plastic over every surface so that the Fago wouldn't like seep into the floorboards, which it surely still did. Like,
It's like a guar show.
yeah, similar thing. If I mean, Guar has some clout, but I feel like
Yeah.
there's a way you could spray people with some amalgamation of like blood related substance.
I love Insane Clown Posse. Not necessarily their music. I wouldn't exactly call myself a fan of their music, but just the entire concept and the Juggalo culture. It's very inspiring, and I also find it fascinating that they've also wound up being on the very left side of politics, just as a culture. So yeah, I'm very pro Juggalos.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, it's inspiring to see how like they took something that just was they got ragged on for forever. People were like, nobody is gonna fucking like this. Like you all
Hmm.
just like trash. And they're like, maybe, but there's a lot of us. And now it's like one of the, if not the most successful like independent artist like media empire almost.
Yeah.
Like
I
they
also
built it.
definitely have a soft spot for just about anyone that's unfairly maligned by the FBI. Like I gotta be on that side because fuck the FBI.
Preach. All right, let's see here. I got a couple more questions for you. Last question about
Oh, oh
touring.
shit! Do you have the advanced zoom, Mister Moneybags over here?
Yeah,
Look at you. Okay.
yeah. So from the last touring question, like from this past year, there's a lot of firsts that you did, obviously, like first time out of the country, first like quote unquote real tour. You threw your first show.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think was one of the biggest takeaways or biggest lessons that you've learned this year?
You know, playing, especially on tour, like producing music has always come before the live element for me. Live is how I kind of got my name a lot out there because I do think with the way I perform my music, the way I play and mix my music, the way that like I have like my visuals that are, perfectly synced to everything, like people seeing me live, that is the full Moris Blak experience. And when I went on tour this time, I basically just was playing like through Ableton Live on a MIDI keyboard. And as we played with different artists like across the country, like opening acts, and I played some festivals over the summer. So I saw like a lot of different bands play live. And at every show, I feel like I was picking up like little things, either little movements that are made by performers or ways they played their instruments or just like inclusion of instruments entirely. Like for the last three shows I played was I start playing a drum pad live, which has been not only fun for me to do live. I definitely think it adds like an extra element, like a really like raw tribal element to the music you're playing. And so I guess every show that I see, I just like I'm trying to like learn a little bit to pick up what I should be doing in the future. Oh, and also one major thing I learned, when we went on tour, it was just three guys on the road. That is not enough. You need somebody else who is not in a band, who can help with merch, can help drive, can help do anything. Somebody there to help because man, that is a lot of work for like three people who are also performing every single night. That is a lot of work and it can really drain on your psyche. It drained on one of my tour mates' psyche really fucking hard. So like, they don't get overconfident on tour. Like, bring someone out to help you out. It'll make things really good in the long run. We got overconfident. Definitely got overconfident.
Yeah, dude, the tour manager position. It's critical.
Yeah, we thought we didn't need one. We fucking needed one. We absolutely needed one.
There you go. Next time. Next time. Your
Yeah, no,
live
we
show.
already are like my manager and I already started like putting out like little feelers to people because I probably can't mention who I'm going on tour with, but we already have it like planned out for about like 28 dates, I think, and we're trying to like figure out who can help us like fucking at least for part of it because goddamn.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy the clips that I see of your live show. I love the theatricality and the you know, the drama. I love people who get dressed up and paint themselves and wear masks and do silly shit on stage. I just like I live for that. Specifically about your mask, do you make them all yourself?
I do.
Nice. What is that?
So the current iterations of the mask that I'm making are made out of Wonderflex, which is like it is like a plastic material that when you heat it up, it becomes pliable and it cools down, it freezes up. It's very popular with cosplayers. That's how I learned about it. And the main reason I am not a mask maker. I have a background in art, but not very much in sculpture or anything. I wing most art that I do. I pay someone to do my design for me now because I actually have income from music and it just looks more professional. But like at the start of my project, I was trying to do basically everything. But anyway, I've always built my own mask, and the main reason is I see like sometimes DJs like just like buy those like fucking like LED helmets you can get on like Etsy or Amazon. And like that's cool for like your first couple of promo shots, but bro, what happens when someone has a slightly more successful song on SoundCloud and he's wearing the same mask that he bought for the same price from Jeff Bezos? So I always wanted my mask to be unique, and I figured making it yourself is the best way to do it. I always wanted it to be kind of like faceless and kind of like weird looking. I feel like a lot of like mid-tempo, and actually just like electronic music in general, it has a very sci-fi ethos to it, which makes sense. Like it's music from the future. It's made for sci-fi, but I'm a horror guy, and I wanted dread to kind of be the foundation of my project, and creating this like faceless flesh golem up on stage was always kind of my intent. Like I also like paint up my arms black and stuff. So like when I'm up there, like I'm already like a tall dude, but like when I'm up there with the mask like hulking over, like I look 10 feet fucking tall. I wanted to have like a bit of a larger than life presence up on stage, especially because I'm not like I'm just like playing instruments up there. I'm not doing vocals. I don't even have a mic up there. So I really gotta like I want to make it as like entertaining and immersive as an experience without eventually I'm sure I will include a mic, but that day is not today. I am still a shambling mound up on stage for the time being.
What was it that did you always have the mask in mind? You're like, for this project, I want to be wearing a mask. Like, why decide to wear one at all? What was the
Uh
incentive?
Standing out. I wanted to stand out a little bit. Like I started coming up with the idea for a mask at the same time a lot of other producers were having the same idea. But it was real, honestly, it started off like mainly as a branding tactic. Like, I don't know, I felt like I didn't have like charismatic of a personality to kind of carry it just as myself. So I want it to be a character. And I originally intended Moris Blak to be like a full kayfabe thing, like there's Brian and there's Moris Blak. Moris Blak talks like always in character and stuff like that, like remains anonymous, but I couldn't do that. And especially over the past few years, Moris Blak and me, Brian, they're just fully come together into like one whatever whatever person. But yeah, branding is the main thing. I wanted to stand out, especially if I was going to play live shows. And I do think that really helped. Like, people see this like weird, cool LED mask up on stage and they hear some cool dance music. They want to be like, okay, let's see what this is all about. Especially when I play festivals. That's when I get like a lot of extra pull from people. Like people who are forced to see me, they're like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to go check this out. So I'm always kind of prepping my performance as if I'm playing a festival where there's a lot of bands and there is a lot of like limited retail for people's attention and memory. So I really got to make it as appealing as it can. So I try to make the performance that I would like to see slash can't afford to do right now. I've got big plans for the future when I'm a huge 9 Inch Nails level success and I'm able to put all my money into production. That's. But for now, I do the most with what I can, and I think people respond to it.
Fuck yeah. Do you have any tips as far as mask construction goes for practical usage while performing? Because I see you've gone through a few iterations. Have you learned lessons about breathing, getting condensation all over your face, or visibility?
No, I'm still learning, man. Honestly, I really need a professional to hire a professional to make my mask for my next tour. And that's something I'm already considering because my mask is very hard to see and breathe out of. And it's kind of a pain in the ass because I don't know what I'm doing. I just kind of put it together in a way that I think looks cool and makes sense. But I do think wish I could give some good advice, but man, it sucks to see and breathe in that thing. It's awful. Like I think it was the second night of tour. I was playing San Francisco, California, a notably hot fucking state. And halfway through the performance, I like took off my mask. It's like, fuck this, I can't breathe. And I think like the light wasn't working. So I took it off and it got like a big applause. And so I just had this like moment of like, oh, okay. And so like I keep playing. And then like I usually have my hair up in a bun and then I take my hair down, which always freaks people out because I'm sure you can relate to this. No one thinks you have long fucking hair just because you have a man bun. It's like they consciously like understand that that is hair up there, and if you untie it, it will unfurl into full hair. But like when it actually happens, it blows their fucking mind like they're fucking babies. So I take the bun out and I like my hair comes down and that gets a huge applause. So then I'm like, okay, now every night on tour, I'm taking off my mask halfway through because people just fucking love that shit. It's like a half reveal.
Yeah. Just like a little like thrill, like what's behind the mask? That's what's behind the mask. What's
And
on the
like
head? That's what's on the head.
I have also been consciously doing press photos like that are like more of my face. Like a lot of them that are gonna be released with the new album are gonna have a lot more of my face than I've been showing, and I think that's like part of the evolution of the project. Like I kind of it's not so much about the mask anymore. I think it's more of just like about like what I am as like a producer, you know. And I think I'm probably going to go through different theatrical stages, and I might be moving past this one, but for now, the mask isn't going anywhere. Just maybe I need to get a more professional one made because this one fucking sucks.
Interesting. Okay, very cool. I'm excited to see when you get a little bit more budget. I'm excited to see you flesh out your vision. I
Oh
always
yeah,
love when
me
people have
too.
a flair for the dramatic. I feel like there's a lot of people, no hate, but there's a lot of just like black t-shirts and like that's it going on. So when somebody puts on that extra effort for the spectacle, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I'll give this unsolicited advice. Like when you're thinking about your live show, like think about what has been memorable in a live show before. Don't just think about what you can do. Think about what has really made an impression with you. There's this band called the Gothsicles. They're from the Midwest. They now live in Boston. I'm very happy to say that he is my friend now, my very close friend. But I saw the Gothsicles play at they're like a comedy industrial band, basically. They're very, very funny. If you ever get a chance to see them live, I strongly recommend it because there's just so much fun. But I saw them perform live when I was like 18 at an industrial festival in my home state of Connecticut. And it was the first time I ever saw synced visuals to his music, to someone's music. Like every song that he played, like he would say something and like images would come up to like reinforce whatever joke was happening in the lyrics. Like it was it was really great, and it kind of showed me like, these comedy elements would not have worked nearly as well if they did not have the big like visual help. Like, I mean, he could have carried it anyway because he's super charismatic and hilarious and awesome, but the visuals just like made it a full fucking experience, and that's the main. He's the main reason that I include synced visuals in my performance because of that performance I saw of his when I was 18, and it made such an impression on me. And so when I was putting together like the full Moris Blak live show, I knew I wanted it to have like a certain cinematic quality to it. So all of my visuals really show the tone and kind of like guide you through the performance, and that was a big thing for me.
Are you syncing those to your music, like using Ableton's video engine? Is it all
I
running through
am,
Ableton?
which I don't recommend. If you have a Mac, there are some great VSTs to help assist with the process, but I have not found one with Ableton with Windows, and Ableton just sucks for video. I've made it work. I figured out a way to make it work, but it's like kind of unreliable. Like
Mm.
one out of 10 times it'll say like can't decode video, and I just have to like restart the whole thing if I want it to work.
What
I
happens if it's in the middle of the show and it does that?
usually doesn't have once it's like going, it usually won't stop.
Okay.
But like I'll frequently like open it up and it'll like not play or something. It's just very finicky with video. Ableton's not built for video, and I'm hoping maybe in Ableton 12 we'll get like a better video engine because that's it's becoming much more standard that artists have visuals, especially synced visuals now. You'd think that they'd want to become the catch-all. They like everyone now is like basically if their computer can run it, they're using Resolume and Ableton, which I was doing for a while. But now what I do is I basically I have like just my backing video linked up in Ableton and kind of run it all from there. But I'm just hoping in the future, Ableton, I know you're listening to this podcast, you're big fans, I get it, of both of our music. I would be too. If you could please improve your video engine, that would be just so great to all of us theatrical performers.
Yeah. I mean, they do really have a kind of a corner on like your like live electronic things. Like there's not many other app programs out there that are like allowing you to do all of the things that Ableton does. It makes sense. It
One day,
makes
one day.
sense. Let's hope.